pantheons, they have an ultimate God who is everything else comes from. So even in these corrupted ideologies, because everyone would have been on the same one God, worshipped alone without any partners, with time it can become changed. And the way it becomes changed is when we take someone who is pious and we give them more praise and we put them in a pedestal where we should put them. And with generations they become objects of worship. And we see this all the time with Isa alayhi salam. We see amongst the Christians, they've taken a great human being who was a prophet from Allah, messenger from Allah, and they've taken him to a status when he shouldn't be, even to Allah himself. So this is the common thing. So you're absolutely right. There are messages sent to all the people. But this is just. And one of the things that our Jewish brothers and sisters they say is that we are chosen people.
I had a discussion with a Jewish guy now, I think you were there, right?
Yeah.
And I was telling him, Ishmael, right? I watched a rabbi movie once, like a clip on a rabbi saying that Jews used to name their children Ishmael, right? And he's like, no, we didn't. Maybe that happened 2,000 years ago. He probably like knows how to say it better than I do.
That's okay.
But what I'm saying is like, the story of the prophets throughout history is obviously the strength of the Islam is the fact that the core pillar of the belief is around obviously Shahada and the belief in the final messenger, but also the Quran, right, which stands with time, etc. But it's also very interesting to see like a historical view of how the messages came, and sort of like, for me, like when I look into Islam and religion, the story. Some people come to Islam basically from reading about the Prophet.
Yes.
And so it's interesting to see like also the stories of other prophets, and how religion generally, right? 100 years ago, religion was mainstream in the sense that nations were identified beyond the borders; they were identified by the religion, and sort of like, and that is interesting that throughout humankind, like the history of humanity, basically, and religion came sort of very similar, and it's nice to see that if for us sometimes like Egypt, right, and the pharaohs and the fall of the pharaohs and all of the history sometimes with these supernatural things happening that don't happen today we have science, we have gravity, we have mathematics, and we have the rule of these things, right? We don't believe in mystical magic, like what's it called, like supernatural. I rephrase, right? We do believe in like supernatural, maybe human like beings, etc. Right? But we haven't seen miracles happen, right? We don't see miracles. That's probably our test. This day and age, our test is to like not see that and believe, right? But history had a different paradigm on like human beings in history had a different look at religion, because the Jews, I mean not the Jews, but the people, the message of Moses was revealed through doing acts that people saw to kind of like to believe in the message, right?
The messenger.
Yeah.
As a Muslim,
Yeah.
do you believe Islam is the way, or that other religion like Christianity can also be the way? I just want to get your perspective, because you seem
So
like
we originally.
For me personally, aren't all religions a way in a way?
this is the gentleman to gentleman I was telling you. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Because didn't everything start with Judaism, then God sent down Christianity as a message, and the final message was Islam. So in a way, when you just see someone that believes in Christianity, I can't really decide for myself to say that that person decided Islam is not the way, but Christianity is. But what if they were born in a Christian family, they're around the Christian environment, they don't know any better, and Islam is not necessarily portrayed in the best of ways in the world.
By whom?
why everybody. I mean, even we're Middle Eastern,
No,
we're
I don't
Lebanese
agree.
originally. It's really hard. Like even in the Middle East, religion is used for political polarization. So, for example, he was introduced to religion in a much nicer way than I was as a child. And these things, they're very hard to clean slate yourself from and sort of move on.
So I think we have to unpack this a little bit because and even what you said, there's a lot in there. But let me start backwards.
Yeah, let me just answer him like quickly. Yeah, oh, sorry to interrupt. You said that. So I believe that other religions.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what I believe in, first of all, is no one can. The message of Islam and the test of God is one that is a pure and good message for human beings. I was having this discussion with her in the morning that there's nothing in religion that teaches you something like harmful for you, right? And so for me, I think that I don't like to have these divisive sort of left or right arguments where like, is this religion right? Is this religion wrong? In a sense, is it like for me at least, right? I see that there's a path for every single human to believe if there's a creator or not. Some people might find it in physics. Someone might find it in biology. Someone might just find it because an event happened with him, or he heard someone telling him a story, and that sort of gradually took him towards the creator. Okay. So let's say Christianity. You've taken a priest, praising God. Then you go to church. Then you start asking questions. Then that leads you from one question to another, and you find your way into Islam, let's say, and you take a shahada, and you believe in one God. Did that whole experience, was it a bad thing or was it a good thing? If it ultimately led you so
part of your journey.
What I don't like is to categorize and cancel. I don't like that.
No, that's
I don't Who
think.
are we to tell anybody you should choose this way of worshiping God?
That's why I said let me bring it to these two gentlemen, because there's no confrontation.
Yeah.
And they will be able to articulate anything.
You're praising us.
No.
You're praising us too much.
Praising you too much.
Subhanallah.
I think that,
No, because we're speaking to very argumentative.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I think
we can try. We can try to answer.
I agree with what you're saying. So let the two
just in a nutshell, just a quick answer to that is that for me, because I do believe in something, right? I have a look on things. I don't think that cancel culture actually helps our message. Okay, that's what I think, right? So our message is to path towards. You want someone to come closer to what you believe in is not harmful for anybody. What you believe in is just between you and your creator, and it's a message of peace and a message of love, etc. So that doesn't come through by me having an opinion on someone else's religion, because if I do that in a way that is provocative, it's not my message at all. So if I have a message towards what I believe in, that's where that's where I believe mine.
I'm going to bring the camera on this side, okay? I want you to stand in between Imran and the brother, yeah?
So you're saying opposite things to a certain extent.
Yeah, maybe. we don't necessarily
Do you disagree about a lot of things? I'm just joking.
I'm a scientist by
We like
nature.
to do-
That's my problem.
It's our first time here.
It's not a problem. I'm a scientist by nature as well. It's not a problem at all.
What's your field?
Cancer research.
Fantastic. So my wife studied disordered proteins in her PhD.
Yeah. So as a scientist, I have to say it's really hard to take, and I don't mean this, but it's really hard to take something that was given down to people 1,400 years ago as fact.
Well, you guys have said quite a lot.
Yeah,
Let inshallah, Imran, let's see if he can perhaps address some of those things that you.
Okay. So as a principle, there's no issue with science and religion. There isn't.
Of course.
As a principle.
Where does evolution sit?
Well, we can talk about
Yeah,
this.
we can talk about it in a bit.
Because I don't think there's an issue, but we can talk about
Yeah.
it. It's going to get complicated, but let's unpack things. So you were saying the journey is as valid as the final destination. If it's Islam, essentially, you're saying if someone is a Christian and they learn all these things and they eventually take their shahada, they become Muslim, then that's great. I agree with you 100%. This is different from saying that all paths lead to.
Agree.
They're different things.
I agree with that.
So that's a perennialist view. Islam generally does not have a perennialist view, because while Allah says in the Quran specifically that I've given you original Islam and this is the religion that's accepted. Now, what is Islam is a different thing. How people are judged is a different thing.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you when you say that someone who has not received the message of Islam correctly can't be judged for not accepting it. 100%. This is the Islamic position. So what happened?
Sorry,
yeah,
but
yeah.
we aren't anybody to judge
We
them,
are not,
right?
we are not.
So like I had a discussion with a guy over there a while ago, and he's like, I kept telling him, listen, even if you read verses that say that, you know, this guy who doesn't believe, he's a disbeliever, and he dies a disbeliever, and he's going to hellfire.
That's for God to decide.
Exactly,
Not for
it's for
us.
God to
Not
decide.
for us.
It's not for us. And I read somewhere like, if you're a believer, but you pass that judgment onto someone, thinking that you have the right to pass that judgment onto someone, you go to hellfire.
So, well, there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ referring to that particular point.
Yeah.
That the person who calls the other person a kafir,
Yeah.
indeed one of the two is a kafir.
Yeah.
In other words, if he's not a kafir, you've just become a kafir.
Yeah.
So, so it's a very firm, very strong thing.
Yeah.
Do not judge, do not call people kafir.
Yeah.
Unless they do something openly, they say, I don't believe in the Quran, I don't believe in the Prophet Muhammad. That's kufr. There's no.
But there's a verse on that as well, right?
But what I'm trying to say to you is that you can't go around judging people and calling people a disbeliever, because indeed one of the two is a disbeliever. Mm-hmm. So if he's not, then you've become a disbeliever. So it's a very strong. But please go ahead, because there's obviously a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think that was one point, that we're not perennialists.
Yeah.
Not every single path is the correct path.
True.
Just as everyone deciding the way they're going to drive on the road is going to lead to a harmonious driving, it's not. It's going to cause chaos. People will be red light for me means put my accelerator to the floor. It's not going to work if it means for everyone else it means stop. Green means go. You're going to have accidents. It's going to cause a lot of havoc.
Sure.
So there needs to be some system. Now, the question is that when we're having our discussions, you know, you're saying, I don't know what you mean by cancel culture in this context, but if I'm having a discussion with somebody who is a Christian, they're saying to me they believe that God is three in one, and the only way for salvation is that God must come back, become a human being and die for your sins. For me, from Islam, from an Islamic position, is not correct. Now, when I discuss with them, I'm not discussing with them from I hate them and, you know, I'm going to show them. And no, it's a position of, I believe that the way I'm living in the world and what I believe will lead to a better hereafter, and I want that for this human being.
That's okay.
And so you come from a
Empathy.
place of compassion towards that individual, because you want them also to benefit from this. Now, that will be a discussion.